The cafeteria fell silent in a way that wasn't natural. Forks stopped clinking. Conversations cut off mid-sentence. Even the humming of the vending machine seemed louder. Everyone's eyes turned to the same spot, the center of the crowded lunchroom, where three grinning boys stood holding up a plaid skirt like it was some kind of trophy. And there, in nothing but her black leggings and an oversized hoodie, stood the new girl, frozen but not in fear. Her eyes locked on the bullies, and in that moment, every single person in that room realized something they'd never forget: they had picked the wrong person to humiliate. Samantha Blake had only been at Hawthorne High for 2 weeks, but she already knew she was a target. New schools were never easy, but this one came with its own hierarchy: the loud, the popular, the athletic, and the invisible. Samantha wasn't loud, wasn't popular, and didn't play sports. She was the kind of girl who walked with her head down, hood up, and earbuds in, even if no music was playing. What no one at Hawthorne knew was that Samantha hadn't just moved across town, she'd moved across states, leaving behind a past she didn't talk about. Her old school, she'd rather forget it. The whispers, the way teachers stared after she'd defended herself one too many times, the way kids looked at her as if she were dangerous. Here, she'd promised herself, things would be different. She'd keep her head down, stay out of trouble, and graduate quietly. But trouble had a way of finding people who tried to avoid it. It started small. A trip in the hallway. A shove in the locker room. Whispers of weirdo and emo when she passed. Samantha ignored it, she'd dealt with worse. But the three boys in the cafeteria, Ryan, Luke, and Tyler, didn't stop there. They were the kind of guys who thrived on attention. And the quiet new girl was the perfect victim. That day at lunch, Samantha sat alone at the edge of the room, picking at a peanut butter sandwich and reading on her phone. She didn't even notice them until Ryan's voice cut through the noise. "Hey, new girl. Cute skirt." She didn't look up. That was mistake number 1. The boys laughed, circling closer. "What's wrong? Too good to talk to us," Tyler said, leaning over her table. Samantha kept her gaze on her food, but her hands tightened in her lap. She'd learned long ago that showing fear only made it worse. But then Luke moved behind her. Before she could react, she felt a sharp tug. The elastic waistband of her skirt slipped, and in one humiliating second, it was gone, yanked right off her, leaving her sitting there in just her black leggings. Gasps spread through the cafeteria. A few people laughed, others looked away. Someone's phone was already up, recording. Samantha's heart pounded, but not from shame. Not anymore. She stood up slowly, her chair scraping the floor. Ryan dangled her skirt like bait. "What's the matter, new girl? Too shy?" That was the moment something inside her snapped. She stepped forward, grabbed the skirt from his hand so fast he didn't have time to react, and looked him dead in the eyes. Her voice was low, steady, and cold. "You have 3 seconds to put that video away. Or you're going to wish you'd never met me." The boys laughed again, but it was nervous this time. Because there was something in her gaze they didn't understand. Something that made the rest of the cafeteria go quiet. Ryan opened his mouth to say something clever, but he didn't get the chance. Before anyone could blink, Samantha had closed the gap between them, grabbed his wrist, and twisted it in a way that made him yelp. The phone dropped to the floor. She kicked it under a nearby table without looking away from him. "You think you're tough because you run in a pack," she said, her voice carrying across the silent cafeteria. "Try picking on someone who can actually fight back." Luke stepped forward, scowling. "Who do you think you are?" She didn't answer. She moved. 1 step forward, 1 swift motion, and his arm was pinned behind his back. He staggered, cursing. Samantha let go before a teacher could intervene, but the point had been made. Ryan's face flushed red. "You're gonna regret this." Samantha's voice didn't waver. "No. You are." She picked up her tray, her skirt now tied loosely around her waist, and walked out of the cafeteria as if nothing had happened. By the time she reached the hallway, she could hear the buzz behind her. Whispers spread like wildfire, not about the skirt, not about her leggings, but about the fact that the quiet new girl had taken down 2 of the most popular boys in school without breaking a sweat. That night, the video never made it online. No one could find it. Ryan's phone, mysteriously, had a cracked screen, and Luke avoided her in the halls. The power dynamic had shifted. But Samantha didn't feel triumphant. She knew better than to think it was over. Bullies never gave up after one loss. She'd have to be ready for whatever came next. And she was. Because the truth, the one she'd kept hidden, was that Samantha Blake wasn't just some shy transfer student. She had trained in martial arts for years, not because she wanted to fight, but because she had needed to. Her past had forced her to learn how to stand her ground. Now, at Hawthorne High, she had just sent a message loud and clear: she wasn't here to be anyone's victim. And the next time someone tried, she wouldn't just leave them frozen. She'd leave them wondering how they'd ever thought she was weak.